My sister faked an application and then told me she wanted me to be her surrogate. Even though the shocking truth changed everything, she is now pregnant. I had no idea I could post this on Reddit, but that's how life is. I'm Sarah, and I'm 28 years old. Things changed about 6 months ago. It all began when my sister Angelina, 32F, told everyone she was pregnant. There was a time when Angelina and I got along great. Since we grew up 4 years apart, we were never in the same part of life at the same time. Angelina was perfect as a child. She did well in school, led the debate team, and played first chair violin in the school orchestra music group. On the other hand, I liked being on my own more. Although I did well in school, computers and writing were what I really liked to do. The woman who raised us always seemed to think Angelina was better. They couldn't always make it to my coding events, but they were always at all of her debates and acts. Because of this, we grew apart, and the gap got bigger as we got older. When Angelina met Tom, 34, while she was in college, her perfect life seemed to come full circle. Everyone thought they would start a family right away since they got married soon after college. But years went by, and there was still no baby. Angelina didn't talk about it much, but I could tell it made her feel bad. I worked on my work while that was going on. I got my first job as a software engineer, bought my own flat, and got a great job at a computer company. I was happy with my life, even though it didn't go the way my parents had planned it. That's why I was so happy when Angelina told me she was going to have a baby. As sisters, I thought this would finally bring us closer, but then Angelina told me the shocking truth. I would be the second mother. Not asked any questions, just told. It shocked me. Angelina didn't know me well enough to think I would act this way. We only talked once a month, and most of the time it was just to catch up. It shocked me that she thought I would carry her child. I tried to tell her that the thought made me feel bad, but she brushed it off. She told Sarah, "Oh, come on, it's not important. Anyhow, you're not using your uterus right now." I couldn't believe what I heard. Not in my uterus? Was she being honest? It was important to me to make it clear that becoming a surrogate was a big decision. For at least 9 months, it would change how I look, my job, and my way of life. Angelina wouldn't listen though. She then said that she and Tom had been trying for a long time. How this was their only chance and my failure to help was only looking out for myself. Things got worse when our parents got involved. Like always, Angelina's mom 56F and dad 58M agreed with her. They called me every day and told me how much family meant to them and that I should be ready to do anything for my sister. Dad went on, "Sarah, this is your last chance to finally make a big change in your life. That hurt a lot. I love my life, my job, and my own home, but now that I won't be my sister's egg, it doesn't matter anymore." When Angelina always judged me and found things I could have done better, I felt like I was back in high school. It felt like the pressure was getting stronger. Angelina began telling her friends and family about her wonderful sister, who would give birth to her baby. In fact, she talked about it on Facebook before I made any promises. It all of a sudden began to happen. Letters from aunts, cousins, and other family members I hadn't talked to in years praised my kindness. Angelina was already lying when I tried to set the record straight. People I told the truth to either didn't believe me or thought my story was too dramatic. They'd say it's only 9 months. Don't you want the best for your sister? It did last longer than 9 months though. It was my job, my life, and my body. A while ago, I was given the chance to oversee the progress of a large project at work. How was I going to handle that while I was pregnant? What are the possible long-term effects on my body and the risks to my health? It looked like none of this was important to anyone. Something broke at a family dinner. Angelina was the one who asked everyone to come enjoy her upcoming surrogacy. She acted like everything was set in stone, even though I hadn't promised anything. As we sat around the table, she began to talk about her plans for the nursery and how thrilled she was for me to begin hormone treatment. I couldn't handle it anymore. I stood up for what was right and told them the truth. It got old for me to be shamed and scared into doing things I didn't want to do. I also said that Angelina had lied to everyone and that I had never agreed to be a surrogate. It got quiet in the space. After that, things went crazy. Angelina shook up. She broke down in tears and told me I ruined her one chance to be a mom. I heard my parents yelling at me and saying I was cruel and selfish. Tom did nothing but sit there, looking awkward. When I left the meal, I was thrilled. Was I really the bad guy after all? I wouldn't give up my body or my life for 9 months. What did I do that was selfish? My family seemed to think otherwise, even though I didn't see it that way. Since that night, things have been tense. There is no talk between me and Angelina. You feel bad every time your parents leave a message. I'm not giving up, even though it's hard. Some of my friends have even said strange things about it. Like, well, I would do it if it were my sister. I can't believe they're putting so much stress on me, and I also fear I'll lose my family because of it. It's my body, so I get to choose, right? This whole thing makes me think of a lot of my childhood. Being sure that nothing I do can compare to what my parents did. Standards, the ongoing comparison to Angelina. I thought I had already gone over it, but the buzz about Surrogate has made me remember everything. In the hopes that Angelina would understand my point of view, I tried to talk to her one-on-one, but she wouldn't listen. She says over and over, "You've never cared about anyone but yourself, you've been selfish your whole life." She changes our whole history to fit her story, which makes me the bad guy. Tom's silence during this whole thing has been strange. He told me that it was between me and Angelina when I tried to talk to him about it. However, shouldn't he be able to decide who has his child? I don't believe he's not interested, but I'm not sure why. I don't know what to do. Some part of me wants to give in just to end the drama, even though I know it's not the right reason to become a surrogate. I want to cut all my ties with people and start over somewhere else sometimes. I've been thinking about moving to a different office for my company to get away from it all. But is running away really the answer? What will happen if Angelina tries to get someone else to carry out her IVF plan? Should I warn them? I guess the reason I'm writing this is to check if I'm crazy. Is it wrong that I turned down the chance to be my sister's surrogate? How can I deal with this without losing my whole family? I feel trapped in family problems right now and can't find a way out. Any help would be greatly welcomed. Changes. I haven't written anything in 3 weeks, and the problem has only gotten worse. First, I want to thank everyone who took the time to respond on my first post. Your help and advice made me feel less crazy about the whole thing. After thinking about your ideas, I chose to stick to my position. I refused to be a proxy for my family, even though they kept asking me to. For a while, things were too calm. I got a call last week from a number I didn't know. When I answered, it was a woman pretending to be from a surrogate service. She began by saying that they were excited to move forward with the process now that they had my application. When I realized what had happened, I was scared at first, and then confused. Angelina had filled out an application for surrogacy in my name. She showed me medical records that she had gotten illegally, used stolen information about me, and even made up my name. I was very angry. This wasn't just a border breach, it was identity stealing. As soon as I got off the phone with them, I told them what happened. They felt sorry for me, but just to be safe, they told me to tell the cops about anything. I had mixed feelings. If Angelina makes a police report, she could be in big trouble with the law. She severely invaded my privacy and also did something wrong at the same time. I thought about all the fun times we had together as kids. I hid something from her because I didn't want to hurt her. Such as the time she broke my mom's favorite vase and blamed me, or the time she stole my car while I was in college and we crashed. I chose to turn in the paper in the end. I had to stand up for myself, even though it wasn't fun. If Angelina did this again, what would happen? The effects happened right away and were terrible. When I called Angelina, she yelled at me that I was out to get her. My parents were very angry with me and told me I was hurting the family. Even Tom, who hadn't said much during the whole thing, emailed me in a rage. That being said, this is where things get harder. Remember how I said that Tom and Angelina had been trying for years to have a child? There is a reason for that, though. When a common friend heard about the police report, they got in touch with me. She taught me something new. Tom had a vasectomy a long time before he met Angelina. This news not only showed that Angelina had been lying to me about their infertility issues, but it also reminded me of when Angelina and Tom were first dated. I heard them talking to each other at a family BBQ. Both Angelina and Tom decided that they didn't want children. Angelina also said she wasn't sure she wanted to be a mother either. At first it didn't seem important, but now it does. Tom didn't look like he wanted kids. During their first date, he told Angelina this, and she said it was fine with her. But over time, Angelina became very interested in the idea of having a child. Tom kept getting pushed. He finally said he would think about either adopting her or being a surrogate. What I learned today made me question everything. Angelina had been fine not having kids before, so why did she want one so badly now? Otherwise, you could just adopt someone or find a willing surrogate the normal way. So why do you go to all the trouble to make me a surrogate? Now that I knew this, I didn't know what to do. Some part of me wanted to talk to Angelina and tell her all of her lies. I did feel sorry for her, though. Did she really want a child so badly that she would lie like this? In the end, I chose to talk to Tom first. When we had coffee, I told him everything, including the surrogacy push, Angelina's lies, and what a common friend had told me. Tom let out a gasp. He said he believed Angelina would be thrilled if he agreed with her plan to use a surrogate. But he didn't know how much she was lying. While we talked, Tom told me about problems in his own marriage. He agreed that the main reason he and Angelina had been fighting for years was that they had different ideas about having a family. He said that he had thought about going more than once, but he stayed because he loved Angelina and hoped she would change her mind about having a child. Tom looked shocked as he left our meeting. I was glad that the truth was finally out, but I felt bad for him. I thought about whether this would finally be the reason for him to talk to Angelina about ending their marriage. Right now, I don't know what to do with my parents and Angelina. The thing that worries me is what will happen to Angelina while the police look into the identity theft. No matter what, she's still my sister. I can't help but think about how well we got along when we were younger. Like the summer we spent at our grandparents' farm, where we gathered fireflies to put in jars and stayed up late to watch meteor showers. Angelina has a hard time making peace with her memories of those times. They haven't talked to me in a while. They think I'm lying to get out of being a surrogate. I'm trying not to cry, but it's hard. It hurts. I've started seeing a therapist to help me deal with the stress and feelings that this situation has brought up. I'm really considering moving out of state for a short time to get away from all the chaos. It's possible for me to ask to be moved to a different place for my job. It's tempting to think about starting over, but I'm also afraid of running away from my troubles. That's how things stand right now. My family is a mess, my sister might be in trouble with the law, and I'm thinking about moving to a new city to start over. That's just life. A month ago, I would never have thought I'd be where I am now. I'll let everyone know what comes next. I want to thank you again for your help. You don't realize how important it is. Second news, there have been 2 months. Since my last post, a lot has happened. Just when I thought things were going to get really tough, something unexpected happened. Before I start, let me tell you what's been going on. A scam charge was made against Angelina after her name was stolen. She had to pay a fine and do community service, but the crime was only a misdemeanor. Tom asked for a divorce because he couldn't get over Angelina's lies about having kids and the whole surrogacy mess. I did agree to that move after all. I've been living somewhere else for a month now to try to start over away from all the pain in my family. It's been hard, but also inspiring. I met some new people. In order to deal with the stress of the past few months, I pushed myself through work and even started going to therapy. But this is when things turn around out of the blue. My mom called me last week. It was a surprise to hear from my parents because we hadn't talked since the police report. Something was telling me not to answer, but I was about to. When I picked up my mom, she was crying. She told me that Angelina was pregnant, even though she was crying. Of course, I didn't understand. She and Tom were getting a divorce, so how could Angelina be pregnant? Tom had a vasectomy. It turns out that Tom is not the father of the child. That's not even true in terms of biology. My mom finally told me the truth after some time. Angelina had been lying about everything from the beginning. Angelina is not, and has never been unable to have children. The story about how hard they tried for years was made up. She didn't want to carry the baby herself, so she asked me to do it for her. It looks like Angelina has always been scared of having a baby and getting pregnant. This worry comes from something terrible that happened to her as a youngster that I didn't know about. Angelina was 16 years old when she saw our cousin have a hard pregnancy and almost die while giving birth. It had a big effect on her and made her really afraid of getting pregnant. That being said, Angelina wanted a child way too much. In other words, she thought. When Tom said he didn't want kids, she saw it as the perfect chance to play the needy childless wife and make someone else. to carry her child for her. But she lost it when her plan to date me didn't work out. This is the person she began seeing without telling Tom. Name him Mike. In the past, Angelina tried to avoid the situation she is now in after Mike got her pregnant. I couldn't say anything. Our family was in a lot of trouble because Angelina was afraid she was going to get pregnant. As my mom talked, more facts came to light, even if they seemed crazy at first. People in my family said they had known for a long time that Angelina was worried about getting pregnant. They agreed with her idea because they thought that using a surrogate might help her get over her worry. They never thought about what would happen to me or why it was wrong to make someone act as a substitute. I felt a lot of different things. Feelings of being righted. It made them happy when the truth came out and angry when they were lied to. After months of being called cruel and selfish, it turns out I was right the whole time. My mom said she was sorry for a very long time. She and my dad both knew they had done something wrong and hurt me. They asked me to forgive them. It took me some time to think about everything, I told her. At first, it was hard for me to accept that my whole family had been lying to me for months or even years. I told her I would think about it and get back to her. Angelina looks like she's a mess. She did everything she could to avoid getting pregnant, but it happened. Mike doesn't want to have anything to do with the child, and Tom won't give her back. For the first time, she is having to deal with the results of her choices. She is scared and feels alone. I have mixed feelings about her on. On the one hand, I'm mad at her for making us suffer so much. There are times when I doubt I'll ever be able to get in touch with her again, but I'm trying to have faith that she'll get the help she needs. That's how things stand right now. The network of lies in my family has finally come to an end, and now we all have to deal with the consequences. I'm still thinking about everything and trying to decide what to do next. This much is certain: I have no idea what the future holds. I'm glad I didn't give up. Trusting my gut is the most important thing I've learned from this. No matter what other people say. Since the whole thing, I've been thinking about how our family works. As a child, I was the bad kid, and Angelina was the good kid. The good kid all the time. At this point, those views seem to have changed. I'm not sure how to deal with this strange event. My doctor and I have talked about everything. She is helping me deal with my hurt and angry feelings. Things are getting better, but it's taking time. When it comes to my work, the change has been helpful. Working on a fun new project to keep myself from thinking about the problems in my family. I'm starting to feel like I belong here now that I have great new coworkers. I'm still not sure what to do about my family problem. Part of me wants to try to make things right with them and forgive them. A part of me worries that I'll get hurt again. It makes me think of all the times I've shown them. If you forgive them, they'll do what they did before. For now, I'm just taking each day as it comes. If I tell my parents I need some space, they understand, which surprises me. Angelina has tried to get in touch with me many times, but I'm not ready to talk to her yet. I'm focusing on getting better and moving on with my life right now, but I'll let you know if anything important happens. Thank you for always being there for me on this crazy path. Number 3. Since it's been 6 months since my last post, I thought it was time to let you know what's been going on. A lot of things have changed. No matter how things are, I feel like I'm in a good place right now. Here is the important information first. Something like 2. Angelina had a girl a few months ago. Even though she was scared, the pregnancy and birth went smoothly. I've heard that she's doing better than anyone thought she would with becoming a mom. Her views on many things seem to be different now that she has a child. Even though I wasn't there, my parents told me about the baby. From the pictures they sent me, I have to say that the baby is beautiful. It's hard to believe I'm now an aunt. More so now that everything that has happened. I don't get along well with my family. After giving it some thought, I chose to give my parents a chance to make things right. A lot of deep, tough talks have been had with each other about limits, trust, and respect. They have said sorry more than once, so it looks like they really do understand how bad what they did was. The link is slowly coming back, but it's not the same as before. From now on, I'm more careful and alert. On the other hand, I'm proud of myself for making limits and sticking to them. My parents know that if they try to control or put pressure on me again, I won't think twice about cutting them off totally. Angelina and I are still not getting along. Other family members have always been there when I've seen her as a baby. Even if it's strange and nasty, we're polite. Angelina has said she's sorry for what she did, but I'm not ready to forgive her yet. A lot of trust was lost, and it will take some time to get it back, if that ever does happen. Angelina has to deal with problems as a single mom. But our parents are helping her, and she is going to therapy to deal with her worries and issues. Women who are afraid of getting pregnant or giving birth have their own support group, which she started. This is called tocophobia. It makes me feel better to see her working on her problems, even though it's too late to fix the damage she's done. Personally, I'm doing great. It's clear that I want to stay in the new place. I'm happy with the life I've made here. Besides being successful at work, I've also made some great friends. I've even started going out with someone. It's still early, but it feels good to be moving forward. The idea of surrogacy seems like a far-off nightmare now. When I look back, I can't believe how crazy things became. However, I'm glad I had the chance. It taught me a lot about setting limits, sticking up for myself, and never giving up on my morals, even when it hurts. Additionally, I've learned a great deal about how to forgive others. It's possible, but it won't be easy and won't happen right away. Even though I'm still working on it, I now understand that holding a grudge against Angelina will not help me in the long run. During this whole process, my therapist has been very helpful. We've started to look into how the things that happened to me as a child have affected my relationships with my family. It's been eye-opening to see how many of our current problems are caused by habits. One of the hardest things for me has been learning to accept my parents and Angelina as flawed people instead of the unrealistic characters they were when I was a kid. I'm making progress, even though it takes a while. Besides my family, I've also been trying to build a support system of other people. My newly found. My friends here have been great. They've been patient and helpful without judging. It showed me how much I was missing out on by always putting my family first. That being said, that's how things stand right now. My family is slowly getting better. We won't be the same again, though. I'm setting up my own conditions for a good life, and most importantly, I'm pleased with the choices I've made. If you ever find yourself in a similar position, remember to go with your gut, stay calm, and refuse to give in to family pressure. You should always make your own choices about your body. Thank you for always being there for me on this path. I know that your advice and help meant more to me than you can know. I'm not sure if I will post again. Just stopping by to say hi and let you know I'm fine. Better than good. All is well with me. Thank you for seeing. Anyone who hasn't already joined should click the bell to stay up to date on more shocking true stories happening in your area.